E aí, cachorreiros e gateiros! Hoje a segunda parte da entrevista com a Dra Sandra McCune do Instituto de Waltham, na Inglaterra. Se você perdeu a primeira parte, eu vou deixar na descrição do vídeo aqui embaixo e também no card final. E antes de começar a entrevista, não esquece de se inscrever no canal, deixar o seu like e clicar no sininho para saber quando é o próximo vídeo. Então fique agora com a segunda parte da entrevista.
Well, I think that is a growing and very real issue in our society today, and I think that's true for so much of the world. You know, we're seeing that people are connected through social media and so on, but also more socially isolated. And I think for older adults in particular, it's a real problem. And it's a problem that I think all of our governments are grappling with. You know, what do we do about this? Because there are real consequences for the health of people who become socially isolated, you know, depression and so on. And I think absolutely pets are a part of that story. They're a part of the solution. They're not going to be the only solution, but I think because pets are such a great way of connecting people, that they have a part to play. You know, and we know, for example, that if people are pet owners, they will go out, they will walk more, they're more physically active. And interestingly, in older adults, that what you find if you watch them over time is they're protected from that age-related decline in physical activity. So if you go out with just your friends, as you get older, that tends to drop off a bit. But actually people with their pets, they retain the level of physical activity. And so they're more likely to be out and about and seen and still connecting with their community and be known, you know, as, oh, that's so-and-so with that dog, and people will connect with them and reach out to them more. So I think that's very important. But I think the other kind of aspect is there is a point in time, I guess, when people may not be able to look after pets. They may just not have that capability any longer as we age or for whatever reason. And I think there's some really interesting work looking at pets being taken into care facilities, for example, with older adults. I think what we see is that the interaction level within those care homes goes up when animals comes in, and that you see a whole range of benefits, not just for the people who are living there, but the people who are working there as well. You know, it has this sort of positive halo effect that everybody benefits from it. And I think if we talk about, for example, older people with dementia, what we see there is fish tanks, for example, having a fish tank in the dining room where people are there with dementia. One of the issues with people with dementia is they often have very, very poor appetite and very poor intake of food. If you have a fish tank, because they're more focused, they actually will eat more. And so it's been used by some homes as a way of helping older people who have dementia to maintain a good, healthy, body weight rather than losing weight over time.
Do you think that dogs and cats are learning ways to communicate with their owners?
Through their body language, or?
Yeah, because I think we are really dumb. And yeah, because most of the people can see what the animal is trying to say. But in some ways, I think that they're trying to learn some ways to show the human what they want.
So I think they try and show us what they want all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
Some of the time, at least. And so I think really the onus is on us to get better at speaking dog and speaking cat, and to recognize the body language, because we know that they are trying to communicate with us all the time how they're feeling. It's quite subtle, it is. It's such a sort of big range, and we may get the very end of that range, or we may get the absence of communication if they're completely relaxed and asleep. It's the bit in the middle, really, we need to get better at. So, often just the way we initiate contact, for example, with a dog, rather than just going in and patting the dog on the head, and that which most of them hate, it's about partnering, learning to partner with that animal, and maybe to initiate a small contact, not usually on the head. They usually prefer other parts of their body, like their chest, and then stop. and see what the dog does. You know, does the dog ask for more? Or does it say, actually, that's fine, thank you, by not initiating more contact? And nearly always in those cases with a friendly dog, they'll initiate more contact, and you build that up. So the dog understands that you understand, you know, that you're responding in a way that it might predict. And so you can build your communication and your bond that way really well. If the dog is just having a day where it decides, actually, I just want a bit of space, or I'm a little bit concerned about who you are because I don't know who you are, then absolutely, you know, giving the dog the choice about the level of interaction can be a really great way, I think, of just learning to understand what it is that they're trying to say. There's lots of great resources out there, you know, so what I would say to people is just take some time and look at those books and other resources that there are, and understanding body language and understanding some of the basic behavioural needs of dogs and cats. You know, sometimes, you know, that behaviour is natural, but it's not terribly convenient for us. I mean, a classic example might be cats scratching on your sofa. It's a completely natural, you know, behaviour, and in the wild it makes lots of sense. Okay, it's keeping their nails sharp, it's leaving messages for other cats, all of these things that make sense if you're a cat. Doesn't make so much sense for us with our sofa, you know. But actually providing them with a better and easier alternative with a cat scratch post in a very favourable place where they want, you know, they like to go, can be a great way of just giving them an outlet for something that then just isn't a problem anymore for you, you know. And I think understanding some of that natural behaviour, possibly particularly in cats really, which I think people tend to understand a little bit less well, is really important to having a good quality relationship.
What are the next steps for the research in animal and human relationship?
I think what we're seeing actually is we're coming into a golden era really of that research. So it's only been around for about 50 years really, the first studies, and what we're seeing in the last 10 years of that is suddenly a huge improvement in the quality of the science that's been done. So there was very little funding available. There was, you know, it was hard to get centres of expertise that were sort of big enough to be consistent in their approach to behaviour research until fairly recently. But now we're seeing that. So at Mars Pet Care through the Waltham Centre, we have what for us is a very important partnership that we have with the National Institutes of Health in the US. So they are the biggest funder of health science in the world. And we have partnered with their particular institute that's focused on child health and development to understand what happens, what's the impact of pets on children when they get together and in terms of their development and health. And what that's allowed us to do is actually have a multi-million-dollar program now through Mars and Waltham with the National Institutes of Health, doing much stronger science in this area. So we've got much bigger studies, they're much better designed, we're taking proper care of potential confounders that might give us, you know, false answers. And we're able to look, I think, not just at pet ownership and the really important role that pets play in just normal child development, but also in special populations. So what we're seeing are, you know, programs which have looked at an equine program, for example, with youth at risk that have seen real benefits for the behaviour of those children going through that program, or classroom interventions in one study for children with autism, and seeing real benefits in terms of their social behaviour and their integration in the class through a guinea pig-based classroom intervention. Another program with children who are hyperactive with ADHD, again seeing changes in their symptoms, not just in the, you know, the measurable sort of outcomes, because of adding a pet-assisted intervention component to the program that was supporting them and their families. And so these studies, I think, are becoming just increasingly strong and building a much more credible evidence base for the benefits of pet ownership. For regular people, you know, but as well as families who may have members of their family with particular conditions that would benefit from an animal-assisted intervention.
What we can expect for the next 50 years?
Yeah, Wow, I wish I knew that. So what would I think? I think what we'll see the pet ownership or the pet industry expanding. I would certainly predict that. And that it's probably likely to continue specialising so that it meets individual needs, I would say, more of animals. We already do a lot of that. You know, Mars Pet Care have a really wide range of products that you know, offer particular life stages or lifestyles, depending on whether you're a more active pet or a less active pet. But there's a whole range of diets there already. I think we may see more breed specialisation in terms of nutrition as well. And I think we'll just probably get a lot better at you know, developing fun stuff as well. So, you know, new toys, objects or toys that really help enhance the relationship. Things you can do with your pet, I think will be important. I can see technology being involved in that. We're just at the very beginning, really, of that. Mars have a business called Whistle, which is all around helping to identify where your pet is with GPS tracking and so on. But it allows you to locate your pet. But absolutely, you know, the possibilities are there to involve that kind of technology in games or in just fun interaction with your pet. So who knows?
E não se esquece de se inscrever no canal.